When you pause for a moment and listen closely in the silence of your heart, there is a gentle whisper that comes not from the noise of the world but from the depth of eternity itself. And that whisper is God reminding you that He has seen every step you have taken, every tear you have shed, every battle you have fought in silence, every prayer you have whispered when no one else could hear. And He is now declaring over your life that a big miracle is not far away. Not a distant hope, not something to wait for in years ahead, but something that is about to break forth in your life tomorrow in ways you cannot even imagine, because the Lord delights in surprising His children with blessings beyond measure. God is saying to you today that the struggles you have endured were not in vain, the storms that almost drowned you were never meant to destroy you, the disappointments that broke your heart were actually shaping you for a moment such as this, and now you stand on the edge of a divine turning point, where one shift, one breakthrough, one unexpected miracle can change the entire direction of your life. And tomorrow you will begin to see the hand of God moving in ways that make it undeniable that He has been preparing you all along for something far greater than your own plans. You may feel that you are tired from waiting, that your prayers have gone unanswered, that your faith has been tested too long. But God is reminding you that He is never late. He is never early. He always arrives at the exact moment when the miracle will have its greatest impact. And tomorrow marks the beginning of a season where prayers will turn into testimonies, tears will turn into joy, and closed doors will swing open because God Himself is the one holding the keys that no man can shut. Tomorrow, when you wake, you will step into a fresh atmosphere of grace, because overnight things can shift in ways that make yesterday's impossibilities become today's opportunities. And God has already arranged divine connections, open pathways and favor that will come to you not because of luck, not because of chance, but because His word is faithful and His promises never fail. And He is declaring that a big miracle is about to manifest in your health, your relationships, your finances, your spiritual growth, and your destiny. When God says a miracle is coming, it is not a small change. It is not just a little improvement. It is a breakthrough that breaks chains, moves mountains, silences critics, and ushers in blessings so significant that you will look back and know that only God could have done this. And tomorrow is marked in heaven's calendar as the beginning of a new chapter in your life story, one filled with abundance, peace, restoration, and joy overflowing. Think about how many times in Scripture God moved suddenly, how overnight Joseph went from prison to palace, how in one moment the Red Sea opened and the Israelites walked through, how in the blink of an eye blind eyes were opened and the lame began to walk. And know that the same God who worked miracles then is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He is whispering to you that tomorrow is the day He will show His glory in your life in a way that leaves you speechless and humbled in gratitude. God is saying, do not give up tonight, because tomorrow brings the breakthrough you have been waiting for. And He is assuring you that the things you thought were delayed are actually perfectly timed. The prayers you thought were unheard have been collected like precious treasure in His presence. And the blessings you thought were impossible are already on their way, prepared for you by the one who loves you more than you can ever comprehend. Tomorrow you may wake up to an unexpected phone call, an email, an opportunity, a door that was closed suddenly opening, a healing beginning to flow through your body, a financial provision showing up when you least expected it, or a reconciliation in a relationship that you thought was beyond repair. Because when God says miracle, He means sudden, undeniable, life-changing transformation that cannot be explained by human reason but only by divine intervention. God is saying that your faith has not gone unnoticed, your patience has not been wasted, your perseverance has not been ignored, and tomorrow will be the beginning of a harvest season where you will see the fruits of every prayer, every sacrifice, every moment you trusted Him in the dark, and He will pour out blessings that press down, shake together, and overflow in abundance. And so, as you prepare for tomorrow, do not let fear steal your expectation. Do not let doubt rob your joy. Do not let discouragement close your heart. But instead, lift up your eyes, because your help comes from the Lord, and He is faithful to complete the work He has started in you. And He is declaring that tomorrow the shift begins. Tomorrow the miracle arrives. Tomorrow the breakthrough you have been waiting for becomes reality. And tomorrow your story changes forever by the power of His hand.
God is speaking to your spirit right now, and He is saying that the season of waiting, the season of wondering when it will be your turn, the season of silently asking why others are moving forward while you remain in the same place, is coming to an end. Because tomorrow marks the dawn of a fresh move of His power. And in this move, you will see that the delays were not denials, but divine setups. The closed doors were not rejection, but redirection. And the tears that fell in the night were watering the very seeds of miracles that are about to spring forth in your life. You may not realize it, but heaven has already dispatched angels on assignment carrying blessings with your name on them. And tomorrow you will begin to sense the atmosphere around you shift. The burdens you have carried become lighter. The confusion that clouded your mind begin to clear. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding filling you with assurance that what He promised is finally manifesting before your very eyes. And when that moment comes, you will understand that God was working behind the scenes all along, orchestrating details, aligning people, and preparing the right timing so that your miracle would arrive in a way that cannot be stopped or reversed. There is something beautiful about God's timing, because just when you think all hope is gone, just when you believe the story is over, just when the night feels the darkest, He steps in with sudden glory. And tomorrow will be a day when sudden glory shows up in your life. A day when the prayers you prayed are answered not in pieces, but in fullness. A day when the battles you thought you lost are turned into victories. A day when the weight of your past struggles is replaced with the joy of new beginnings. Because He is faithful to turn mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, weakness into strength, and impossibility into testimony. God is saying that the enemy thought he could break you, the storms thought they could drown you, the trials thought they could weaken you, but instead, you became stronger. You learned to lean on Him. You grew in faith. You discovered resilience you did not know you had. And now that strength will be rewarded because you have been prepared to carry the abundance of blessings that tomorrow will begin to release in your life. And no opposition, no jealousy, no obstacle will be able to block what God Himself has decreed over you. Tomorrow is not just another day on the calendar. It is a prophetic turning point, a divine appointment, a sacred moment written into the timeline of your destiny. And when the sun rises, you will walk into opportunities that were hidden until now. You will witness the walls that held you back beginning to crumble. You will encounter unexpected favor from people you never even imagined would support you. And you will see that the living God delights in lifting His children up at the very moment when others thought it was impossible, because His power is limitless and His love for you is unshakable. Even if tonight you feel weary, even if you feel like you have nothing left to give, even if your heart feels heavy and your spirit feels tired, let hope arise in you, because tomorrow is carrying the miracle you have long awaited. And God is saying that the very thing that seemed like it would never change will change suddenly. The very prayer you thought had been forgotten will be answered powerfully. And the very situation that caused you the most pain will become the source of your greatest testimony, because that is the way He demonstrates His glory, by turning impossibility into possibility, darkness into light, defeat into victory. So lift your head and prepare your heart, because God is whispering that tomorrow is the day when your breakthrough becomes reality, when your healing begins to manifest, when your provision arrives, when your relationships are restored, when your path becomes clear, when your destiny unfolds, and when you realize that He never abandoned you. He was always with you, carrying you, strengthening you, and preparing you for this very season of miracles, blessings, and overflow.
God is declaring over your life that tomorrow will not simply be another ordinary day marked by routine events, but it will be the beginning of a season where every moment feels infused with divine purpose, where the things you touch begin to prosper, where the prayers you whisper begin to echo louder in heaven than ever before, and where the doors that remained locked for years suddenly swing wide open, because the same God who holds the universe together is now moving mountains, parting seas, and aligning circumstances to fulfill his promises in your life in ways that leave no room for doubt, no space for fear, and no shadow for discouragement. You must understand that the miracle coming tomorrow is not limited to one area of your life, because God is not a God of small blessings or partial fulfillment, but He is a God of overflow, a God who delights in exceeding your expectations, a God who multiplies loaves and fishes until thousands are fed, a God who pours out blessings pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And tomorrow, you will begin to see not just one breakthrough, but layers of miracles unfolding. In your health, in your finances, in your relationships, in your spiritual walk, and even in the hidden corners of your heart where you thought no light could reach, He will shine and bring restoration. Even now, as you read these words, God is stirring faith within you because He wants you to prepare for what is coming. He wants you to enlarge your vision. He wants you to clear space in your heart and mind, because tomorrow you will not just receive an answer, you will receive a flood of blessings that demand new capacity, new vision, and new strength to carry. And you will realize that the years of waiting were really years of preparation for the abundance that is about to be placed in your hands. Tomorrow, when you step into the day, you may not immediately see thunder, lightning, or dramatic signs, but you will begin to sense a shift. You will sense that things are different, that the heavy atmosphere has been lifted, that there is favor resting upon you, that the phone call you had been waiting for finally comes, that the door you kept knocking on finally opens, and that the opportunities that once seemed distant are now right in front of you, because God is faithful to deliver exactly what He promises at the exact time He promises it. God is reminding you that you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you are not abandoned, and every single moment of pain, every single tear, every single sacrifice has been noticed and treasured. And tomorrow marks the day when those seeds will begin to blossom into a harvest so great that people around you will marvel. They will ask how it happened, and you will be able to testify boldly that it was God's hand, God's timing, and God's miracle, because no human explanation will ever be enough to describe the magnitude of His goodness in your life. Think about how long Abraham waited for his promise, how Joseph endured betrayal in prison before his promotion, how Hannah cried out year after year before Samuel was born. And yet, in one divine moment, their lives shifted, their prayers were answered, and their destinies were fulfilled. And the same God who moved powerfully for them is whispering to you that tomorrow is the beginning of your shift. Tomorrow is the fulfillment of promises spoken over your life. Tomorrow is the evidence that He who promised is faithful, and He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. God is saying to you that even if the enemy tried to steal your joy, even if circumstances tried to bury your dreams, even if people tried to discourage your faith, none of it was strong enough to cancel His plan, because His plan for your life is sovereign. His hand is mighty. His authority is final. And when He declares that a big miracle is coming tomorrow, no obstacle, no delay, no power of darkness can stop it from reaching you, because what God has ordained is unstoppable, unshakable, and unbreakable. Tomorrow is not just about what you will receive, but about who you will become, because as the miracle unfolds, you will find yourself transformed. You will see your faith deepen, your hope expand, your confidence in God grow stronger, and you will realize that the greatest gift of all is not just the blessing in your hand, but the closeness of His presence, the assurance of His love, and the revelation that He has been with you through it all, guiding you, shaping you, and preparing you for this very season of abundance. So tonight, as you rest, release your worries, release your doubts, release your fears, and enter tomorrow with expectation. because God is whispering that joy comes in the morning, hope rises with the dawn, and miracles are written into the very hours of tomorrow. And when you step into that day, you will step into destiny. You will step into blessing. You will step into breakthrough, and you will step into the fullness of what He has promised you all along.
God is reminding you that the waiting has not been wasted, that every single day you carried burdens, every single moment you whispered prayers in the quiet of your soul, every single time you stood in faith when circumstances told you to give up, He was counting it all. He was storing your prayers in heavenly places. He was shaping your character. He was building your endurance. And now, tomorrow, you will begin to see that those hidden sacrifices were never invisible to Him, because He has written them into the story of your breakthrough. And you are about to witness how the darkest valleys were only preparing you for the highest mountains of victory. God is saying that tomorrow will be a day when the weight of the past begins to lift, when the scars of old wounds no longer define you, when the chains that once kept you bound are broken by His power, and when you finally begin to see yourself not as a person struggling through endless challenges, but as His beloved child, chosen, anointed, and destined for greatness, walking confidently into a season of blessings, because He has declared it, He has ordained it, and nothing can stand in the way of His word being fulfilled. You may think that miracles only happen to others, that blessings seem to pass you by, but tomorrow will reveal that the God who multiplied oil for the widow, the God who healed the lepers, the God who raised Lazarus from the tomb is still the same God moving today. And He is declaring that your miracle is scheduled, your breakthrough is set, your blessing is on its way, and you will no longer look at other people's testimonies with longing, because tomorrow your testimony begins, and it will shine like a light to encourage others that He is still faithful. The miracle that is coming tomorrow will not only bless you, but it will overflow into the lives of those connected to you, because God's blessings are never meant to stop with one person. They ripple outward like waves in water, touching families, communities, and even generations to come. And tomorrow, you will begin to see how your obedience, your faith, and your endurance are not only unlocking your breakthrough, but also unlocking opportunities for others to be blessed, inspired, and transformed through the testimony of what God has done in your life. God is saying that tomorrow you will begin to see doors open that you could never have opened by yourself, relationships restored that you could never have fixed on your own, provision released that no human system could have provided, and healing flowing in ways that medicine could not fully explain. Because when He performs a miracle, He does it in such a way that everyone around you knows it was not man, it was not luck, it was not coincidence, but it was the living God moving in power and fulfilling His word. You must prepare your heart tonight, because expectation is the soil where miracles grow. And God is saying that tomorrow you will reap from the seeds of expectation you plant today. So instead of dwelling in fear, instead of giving room to doubt, instead of rehearsing your pain, choose to lift your eyes toward heaven. Choose to thank Him in advance. Choose to declare that tomorrow is the day of breakthrough. And when you do this, you align your spirit with His promise. You open yourself to receive what He has prepared, and you make room for blessings so abundant that they will overflow into every area of your life. Tomorrow is not about the end of your struggles only, but it is about the beginning of your new story. A story filled with answered prayers, unexpected favor, restored joy, renewed peace, and overflowing abundance. And as you walk into that story, you will begin to see that all the pain, all the tears, all the waiting were not signs of God's absence, but evidence of His preparation, because He was preparing you to carry blessings of such magnitude that if they had arrived earlier, you would not have been ready. But now you are ready. Now the time is right, and now the miracle is coming. So tonight, rest with peace, because tomorrow will meet you with miracles. Tomorrow will greet you with blessings. Tomorrow will surprise you with favor. Tomorrow will restore your hope. And tomorrow will mark the turning point in your journey, where everything begins to shift in your favor. Because God has spoken it, heaven has arranged it, and your faith will bring it into reality.